Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. The stronger his power, the more Luo Feng was willing to protect creatures. This primal chaos prefecture was seen as a backyard by Thunder Ancient Country in some areas, while other areas acted as buffer zones between the two ancient countries, Wanjie Kingdom and Tianmu Kingdom. Without the tacit approval of the rulers and monarchs of the two ancient countries, how could Iron Demon Lord and Black Vulture Ancestor wreak havoc for so long? Taking over this territory means I'm also stepping onto the stage, thought Luo Feng. With a public identity, it will be more convenient to make deals with the two ancient countries and the three alien clans. Although he killed Di Yuan, Luo Feng was still willing to trade with Flame Wind Ancient Country. He believed that Flame Wind Ancient Country would handle their relationship rationally. If Flame Wind Ancient Country really went mad, Luo Feng wouldn't mind making another move to give them a wake-up call. Master, how shall we seize this territory? Marosa looked at his master. Marosa, to conquer these 729 primal chaos prefectures, you'll be the one to wage war, Luo Feng smiled at Marosa. Me? Marosa pondered thoughtfully, his eyes flashing with brilliance. Master, these 729 primal chaos prefectures are complicated matters, and I'm to wage war alone. With your identity as my servant, you can wield the strength of a pinnacle sector beast, Luo Feng said. As a pinnacle sector beast, there shouldn't be a problem taking over this area, right? Marosa felt his blood boiling, and a tinge of bloodlust appeared in his eyes, excitedly saying, after waiting for so long, Master has finally allowed me to unleash the real power of a sector beast. He had been holding back for far too long. Luo Feng's eyelid twitched, and he quickly cautioned, Marosa, you know what should be done and what should not. He wanted to rule over the 729 primal chaos prefectures, not to cause widespread disaster. Don't worry, Master hates evil as much as I do. I know what to do, Marosa replied. Shall I start now? Luo Feng nodded. Although in terms of power, understanding the great Tao of life and death, and having the Star Tower made him stronger. But in terms of various methods, an ultimate realm sector beast had more. Nighttime found Marosa floating high in the sky, looking down upon the vast world. His gaze was distant, his soul's desires beginning to stir. I've endured for too long, and finally, with Master's permission, I can indulge a little. Marosa was well aware his actions had to stay within the framework set by his master. Master hates evil, and those who are sinful won't invite his objections when I kill them. He, you're my targets. Delightful morsels, I'm coming for you. Marosa was far stronger than Luo Feng in identifying enemies, instantly locking onto the presence of all godly king-level beings within the 729 primal chaos prefectures. Such was the norm for an ultimate realm being. Wind Wolf Country, a third-rate nation located in the buffer area between Wanjie Kingdom and Thunder Ancient Country, was inconspicuous. Luo Feng's demarcated territory happened to include the Lanqi, middle region covering Wind Wolf Country. The territory practically ruled by Iron Demon Lord is now a mess. I hope it doesn't spread here, brooded the Wind Wolf Country master, as he consumed a crystal sphere, which contained over 100 million creatures. As a guest elder of Thunder Ancient Country with primordial bloodline, the supply of blood food in this third-rate nation was more than enough for the Wind Wolf Country master. For someone like him, situated on the fringe within a small nation, and merely consuming blood food in moderation, within his own domain, he was already keeping quite a low profile. I am a guest elder of Thunder Ancient Country, and the spirit guardian lord of Wanjie Kingdom is also my friend, felt the Wind Wolf Country master, confident that no matter the changes outside, his position was secure. Suddenly, an invisible force enveloped him. Wind Wolf Country Master was shocked and looked around, only to find himself in a dark place with ripples at the edges. Mercy, before he could utter another word, his physical body and spirit had melted, utterly dissolved to become part of the dark realm. Wind Wolf Country Master cultivated the primordial bloodline, but was still too weak. Next, Marosa muttered with a smile, savoring his godly king-level food, as a treat that included both flesh and soul was too rare. And so, one morsel after another. Marosa treasured his food dearly, taking his time with each one. Even Black Vulture Ancestor fell victim to Marosa's consumption. How is this possible? Black Vulture Ancestor was dumbfounded. Inside a hidden palace, this avatar of his was suddenly swallowed. The primordial bloodline he cultivated was toxic, capable of damaging even ultimate realm life forms. Yet now there was someone who swallowed him directly. After being consumed, this avatar of his vanished instantly, and his other avatars elsewhere were also destroyed by an invisible curse killing, except for the one in Mount Leitang, which barely survived. Last time it was an attack by a black-robed being's spiritual will, now I've been consumed and cursed, thought the Black Vulture Ancestor, bitter and aggrieved. This reputed existence was reduced to the point where only by hiding in Mount Leitang could his avatar survive. Marosa consumed 9 sinful godly kings in a row, with only Black Vulture Ancestor escaping death. The other 8 godly kings, regardless of their survival skills, could not escape the clutches of the Pinnacle Sector beast. What? 8 godly kings have died in a row. 2 from the second realm of Godly King, and 6 from the first realm of Godly King. It's unknown if they had a chance to reincarnate. In the land of origin, there were only a few hundred godly kings in total. Now, with 8 dying one after the other, it certainly made other godly kings in land of origin tremble, fearing for their lives, worried they might be next. It's time for the next step. After consuming some sinful godly kings, Marosa chuckled and instantly created 23 avatars to meet the other godly kings lingering in this territory. Yunnan Country, Royal Capital. Godly kings of the surrounding nations are dying one after another. The Yunnan Godly King was uneasy when suddenly darkness enveloped the entire royal capital, and a figure of a simple old man appeared, looking at her coldly. Under the influence of his invisible aura, the Yunnan Godly King felt her insignificance. This old man could probably end her life with a single thought. Yunnan Godly King felt in the dark that this was the most terrifying existence she had ever seen. Supreme. Yunnan Godly King immediately performed a respectful salute, her posture extremely low. My master intends to lead the surrounding 729 primal chaos prefectures, naturally including your Yunnan country. Marosa looked at Yunnan Godly King, your sins are light, thus you may live. Upon hearing this, Yunnan Godly King immediately understood. Indeed, the 8 deceased godly kings were ones with heavy sins. You have 2 choices, 1, to follow my master's command. 2, to leave swiftly. Marosa looked at Yunnan Godly King. May I ask who the Supreme's master is? Yunnan Godly King asked at this moment, nervously excited. She felt that she had come in contact with a truly terrifying existence of the land of origin. This elder was the most powerful being she had ever seen, yet he was but a servant. How terrifying must his master be? Not long ago, my master just killed Di Yuan. Marosa said. Yunnan Godly King, without any hesitation, knelt down respectfully and with utmost reverence. Yunnan is willing to follow at your side. Throughout the long history of the land of origin, the only one capable of killing the emperor of the flame-wind ancient country was that mysterious existence. Most importantly, the flame-wind ancient country has yet to retaliate. They actually endured. Very well. Marosa nodded. Similar dialogues were simultaneously happening at 22 other locations. These godly kings, some were in hiding, some harbored ambitions, some were assigned. But once they encountered Marosa's avatar, with Marosa's aura merged with the path of destruction, such terrifying power made even godly kings of the second realm feel a shiver in their hearts, devoid of any thoughts of resistance. Most of these godly kings left, and a few chose to pledge allegiance and follow. Marosa did not forbid the spreading of the news, and those godly kings who left soon spread the word. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Black-robed actually wants to take over 729 primal chaos prefectures. His servant, possibly at the ultimate realm. These two pieces of news quickly spread, and all forces were waiting for the reactions of the two great ancient countries. After all, these 729 primal chaos prefectures were too close to the two great ancient countries, and many places were adjacent. And with such a large territory, it was a direct challenge to the two great ancient countries. Would the two great ancient countries allow such a colossal force to appear? But strangely, the two great ancient countries were quiet, showing no signs of action. The 729 primal chaos prefectures were rapidly integrating. At the center of the entire territory, a large city was chosen. Based on it, a wide-scale expansion was being undertaken to become the future royal capital. Come with me. Marosa walked in the lead, with 9 godly kings following by his side. These 9 godly kings were the ones who had decided to follow Black-robed. The black-robed golden-masked powerhouse had a huge conflict with the flame-wind ancient country. Following Black-robed, there were risks, but likewise, there were huge opportunities. A moment later, they arrived deep within the palace, seeing a figure standing there, cloaked in silver robes. Silver robes. The 9 godly kings were somewhat puzzled. Master. Marosa performed a respectful salute. We pay respects to the king. The 9 godly kings also performed respectful salutes. Luo Feng then turned around, in a suit of silver robes and wearing a golden mask, looking down on them, and said leisurely, "As you all know, I wish to lead the 729 territories and establish a divine kingdom. The name of this kingdom will be Galaxy. Galaxy Divine Kingdom. Galaxy." They were hearing this name for the first time and immediately praised it. Congratulations to the king, joyful tidings to the king. From now on, the Galaxy Divine Kingdom shall surely stand shoulder to shoulder with the two great ancient countries. The two great ancient countries are already waning, while our Galaxy Divine Kingdom is on the rise. The godly kings praised while also harboring hopes for their future. Luo Feng watched this scene. The naming of the Galaxy Divine Kingdom was just the first step. In the not-too-distant future, Luo Feng would completely reveal his identity. Upon the establishment of the Galaxy Divine Kingdom, the powerhouse members of my human clan from my homeland should be able to guess my identity, Luo Feng thought. Boom tilde tilde tilde, see a th novelfire. Net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. With a thought, Luo Feng activated the star tower within his body, naturally affecting an endless and vast area. The current world life forms were unable to reflect the elongated strip of the Galaxy Divine Kingdom. But with the assistance of the star tower, the domain's reach could be much broader, enough to envelop the entire Galaxy Divine Kingdom. Whoosh tilde 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 tilde. Above the skies of the 729 primal chaos prefectures, faint blood rivers appeared, causing countless creatures to look up in awe. From today on, the Galaxy Divine Kingdom is established. The range of the Blood River domain shall be the range of the Divine Kingdom. The endless Blood River resounded with a grand voice, spreading through every corner of the 729 primal chaos prefectures. Such terrifying power made the ancient beings of the land of origin tremble in their hearts. They also realized the third major force of the land of origin was born. On a vast and desolate plain, a youth gazed into the distance, where the endless blood river enveloped half of the sky. I was killed, yet the flame-wind ancient country did nothing. The youth's eyes were cold, now that the black-robed has grown insolent, occupying vast territories and establishing a divine kingdom rivaling the two ancient countries. I want to see if the two ancient countries will continue to tolerate this. Emperor Qing, primogenitor Yang Feng, Thunder Ancestor, can you three really endure this? The youth mused silently. He was none other than Di Yuan, reincarnated. Knowing he didn't have enough capacity to cultivate into an ultimate realm life form, he wouldn't return to the Flame-Wind royal family. He knew that there were some in the royal family who wished him dead. If he dared return to the royal family, his identity would likely be leaked to that black-robed individual soon. Emperor Qing and the others might be in seclusion. Most of their energy is focused outward, only coming out of seclusion when they rest and relax. As for me, my most urgent task now is to comprehend a complete great Tao. The youth thought, better to rely on oneself than others. His true realm is the peak of the second level of the God-King realm. Due to consuming countless creatures to aid his cultivation, he had also deciphered 5 ultimate realm secret techniques, making him quite exceptional among the emperors of the Flame-Wind ancient country. In terms of realm accumulation, he ranks near the top among the emperors. In the Flame-Wind ancient country, without relying on the primordial bloodline, just by utilizing some primordial treasures, it's common to become an ultimate realm life form, with deeper realm accumulation. Di Yuan, Emperor Chu, and Di Jiufeng were such cases. Under normal circumstances, Di Yuan could dominate the world, until he met Luo Feng, who possessed the Star Tower, and was utterly defeated. If I can comprehend more ultimate realm secret techniques, maybe I can make a breakthrough. The youth stepped forward, vanishing without a trace. The establishment of Galaxy Divine Kingdom has all parties of the land of origin watching, waiting for the reaction of the two ancient countries. Night. Galaxy Divine Kingdom, capital. Establishing a divine kingdom is easy, but to sustain it stably and stand alongside the two ancient countries is still quite challenging. Luo Feng sat high in a 9-story pavilion, drinking alone. Given the pride of the two countries' ancestors, whether they can tolerate the existence of Galaxy Divine Kingdom is still hard to say. Ha ha, I'm really looking forward to the ancestors of the two countries taking action, to also test my skills' weaknesses. Luo Feng was quite eager to clash with the ancestors of the two countries. As he delved deeper into the secret patterns of the Star Tower, his blood river became ever more mysterious and terrifying, yet finding worthy opponents became more difficult. Not even the combined forces of the 8 great emperors are worth mentioning. Thus, the collective forces of all emperors and monarchs are useless too. Only Emperor Qing, the East Extreme Domain ancestor, and the two countries' ancestors pose some challenge. Master, there is a visitor. Marosa appeared silently beside him. I've already noticed. Luo Feng looked into the distance. A faint bloody fluctuation swept across as a middle-aged man appeared somewhat disheveled. Preparing for establishing a divine kingdom, I was ready for the two ancient countries to take action, always maintaining the domain of the Star Tower, but the first to come turned out to be the time-space demon. Luo Feng shook his head silently. He never underestimated the two ancient countries, so even the body he sat in was condensed from the endless blood river. A single thought could unleash devastating power. With continuous use, Luo Feng also became more adept in operating the Star Tower. The king's methods are truly formidable. The disheveled middle-aged man approached with a smile, that endless blood river, containing infinite life mysteries. It can even penetrate through past and future, pervading everything. Even a shadow of mine reflected in time and space couldn't avoid it. If it were a complete great Tao of life, it would indeed resemble a river of life, capable of penetrating past and future. Luo Feng, being at the second realm of God King level in the realm of life, purely managed the Star Tower, centralizing on the mysteries of life. While he thoroughly mastered many of its secret patterns, such as creating 8 branches techniques, others he didn't fully understand, yet he could still operate them. The domain he wields has already affected the past and the future, making it hard for any concept of life to escape its permeation. "I've long heard of the name of the time-space demon," Luo Feng said. The middle-aged man, looking at the silver-cloaked, gold-faced man before him, could see with his realm that this silver-cloaked, gold-faced man was a terrifying aggregation of energy. Once unleashed, this force could obliterate everything, unmatched within the source continent. This ruler of the galaxy must be on the path of the great Tao of life, and has surpassed the God King level. The time-space demon sensed the terrifying nature of this power. These existences on the pathway of life become more troublesome as they progress. As an enlightened, time-space demon knew well. In the early stages, the pathway of life excels in preserving life, with weaker killing power. But as it progresses, the path of life becomes more and more unpredictable and mysterious. Because it can target all life forms, fundamentally infiltrating, distorting, and destroying them. If it doesn't kill you, it can greatly weaken your power. And you still can't kill him. What a tough opponent for both flame, wind, and thunder, encountering a dreadful existence on the pathway of life, already invincible under the power restrictions of the source continent. The time-space demon felt some schadenfreude. The source continent, the backyard for primogenitor Yang Feng and Thunder Ancestor. Most treasures ultimately end up in their hands. The emergence of the galaxy ruler came to snatch their spoils. His competitiveness far surpasses the 3 alien clans by a great margin. The king should know what we 3 alien race powerhouses desire the most. The time-space demon said, convinced that this masked ruler of galaxy should be one of the powerhouses from the land of origin. However, even he couldn't see through the true identity of the galaxy ruler now. 4 kinds of treasures. Luo Feng said. Yes, mainly the special life remnants and the secret technique left by Yuan. The time-space demon nodded. I believe with the king's strength, there's a great chance of obtaining such treasures. I am always open for the king to trade with me, and I assure you, the terms I offer will certainly satisfy the king. In his eyes, the galaxy ruler must be beyond the godly king level, and the treasures obtained from the land of origin were surely extraordinary. Such a significant client. Take a look, what can these 5 secret treasures be exchanged for in your possession? Luo Feng waved his hand, releasing the 5 spoils of war he got from Di Yuan, a cloak, an abyss pearl, armor, combat boots, gloves. The time-space demon chuckled upon seeing them. Are these the weapon secret treasures left by Di Yuan after his death? The primogenitor Yang Feng is indeed stingy, preparing only early-stage divine emperor's treasures for his clan's younger generations. Early-stage divine emperor treasures. Luo Feng felt intrigued. Has the galaxy ruler not left the land of origin yet, knowing nothing about the outside world? The time-space demon instantly realized upon seeing this. Luo Feng nodded, indeed. I haven't traveled there and know very little. The time-space demon smiled happily. From the ultimate realm of God King to beyond God King level, this step is a qualitative transformation. Once beyond the God King level, there are no great Tao for guidance, and everything must be explored in darkness. One never knows if the path they find themselves is right or wrong. The time-space demon lamented, sometimes, taking the wrong path still elevates one's power. However, reaching a point may lead to many issues and possibly prevent any further advancement. Luo Feng nodded. He knew. At the 3rd realm of the godly king tier, the great Tao provides guidance. Above God King, one gropes in complete darkness, relying solely on oneself. Hence, in the special grade inheritance, there's a challenge for cultivators to create higher realm secret technique in a lower realm, which prepares them for future exploration in the dark to advance further. The powerhouses above the God King come from billions of worlds and belong to different factions, naturally addressed differently, the time-space demon explained. Some are referred to as Divine Emperor Realm, some as Divine Emperor's Realm, others as Witch Ancestor Realm, and some as Tao Lord Realm. Because relying on bloodline cultivation is mainstream. Because it's the simplest, over 99% of powerhouses are from the bloodline faction, the time-space demon said. The bloodline faction is generally referred to as Divine Emperor Realm. Therefore, that's the most commonly used title. The Divine Emperor Realm divides into 4 stages: Early Divine Emperor, Middle Divine Emperor, Late Divine Emperor, and Perfect Divine Emperor. Like the so-called Tao Lord Realm, it too is divided into First Step Tao Lord, Second Step Tao Lord, Third Step Tao Lord, Fourth Step Tao Lord. Different appellations, all divide into 4 steps. 4 steps out of darkness. The 4th step is commonly known as the half-primordial realm. The time-space demon didn't mind sharing this common knowledge. The half-primordial realm represents a limit. Only by breaking this limit can one become a primordial life. Like Yuan, he is a very powerful primordial life. Luo Feng understood. After God King, 4 steps out of darkness reach the half-primordial level. And beyond that is primordial life. All these weapons secret treasures, their contained mysteries decide the level, the time-space demon continued. These 5 secret treasures of yours, all early-stage Divine Emperor treasures, are well made, quite suitable for God Kings. To be honest, these secret treasures are of little use to me. The time-space demon watched Luo Feng, smiling. But since it's our first transaction, I'll give the king a hand. I happen to have a late-stage Divine Emperor's life-type secret treasure, which might be of some use to the king. Let's exchange this armor and this pearl then, said the time-space demon. Upon hearing this, both being early-stage Divine Emperor treasures, a set of armor is worth much more than gloves, combat boots, or cloaks. Only that abyss pearl could compare in value. The time-space demon obviously chose the 2 most expensive items. Rest assured, I won't take advantage. Once you leave the land of origin, you'll understand, this trade is actually at a loss for me, the time-space demon said smiling. All right, I agree to the trade. Luo Feng didn't mince words. To be honest, he thought little of the 5 treasures from Di Yuan. Because the infinite space treasure vault could also exchange for secret treasures, according to those introductions, many treasures could be used up to the half-primordial level. For example, the one worth 50,000 reward points could weaken all attacks below half-primordial life level by 90%. From those secret treasure descriptions, some appeared to be conceptually made, probably casually created by primordial life, suitable for Divine Emperor level usage. Like the 5 secret treasures used by Di Yuan, they were relatively inferior. In the infinite space, whether it's inheritances or treasures, the value is extremely high. The only problem is that reward points are hard to obtain. Luo Feng thought, I also need to be very cautious with my reward points. The time-space demon said with a smile, I will arrange an incarnation to deliver the treasures. He didn't carry any valuable items with him when he came to meet Luo Feng. He carefully hid many treasures across vast distances, transporting them to the land of origin carefully, and only took out some for each trade. Luo Feng sat there, patiently waiting. Soon, the novel_fire.et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Another figure of the time-space demon broke through the air, also bringing the items for the trade. This video will end here.